Well, it's nice you took her home. Press decline on your phone. Left me crying all alone.
Hey everyone, it's Mikayla. So today I'm going to be filming a video on how to save money as a student and tips and tricks that I use to implement into my everyday life. Before I get into this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and follow my social media that is right there. I'm sorry that I look like a bum today. I can't help it. I look like a bum in every video, but that's fine. We're just going to roll with it and continue on with life. So basically this video is going to consist of 7 hacks that I implement into my life in order to save money. If you don't know, or if you haven't watched any of my past videos, I haven't really mentioned it much anyway, but just so you know, I'm currently saving up for a car, and that can be hard. A lot of people think that teenagers, they don't really have to spend much money on things when they're living with their family, but I'm currently paying for my whole soccer registration, which is over $700, so it's a lot of money. And there's so many other things that I am paying for that need to be paid for. I'm currently paying for all my driving lessons so I can go for my P's, so all in all that's about $1,000 all up that I'm spending in less than a month. So yeah, it's overwhelming, and I need to figure out ways on how to save money so I actually have money for those things, because I don't rely on my parents for everything, and I don't think anyone should be relying on their parents. I feel like everyone at this age, I'm 17, should start to begin to become independent, and that's really what I'm trying to do. I don't pay for my own food, if you're wondering, but I do pay for any luxury items such as my soccer, my driving lessons, all that stuff. So yeah, let's get into this video before I continue rambling on. My very first tip is something that I believe in hugely, and that's because I tend to do this quite a bit, although I'm so good at it at the same time. So the first tip is to not make impulse purchases. So I love window shopping, and when I have money, sometimes I'll pick up an item and be like, yes, I'm going to get this, and then 5 minutes later I'm like, do I need this? And then I set it back down. So I'm that kind of person. I pick up something and then I decide not to get it. But a lot of people, they don't decide not to get it, and if you don't need it, or if you don't think you'll use it as much as it should be used, don't waste your money. Spend your money on other things that you will be using, therefore it won't be a waste of money. But impulse purchases, so like fast food, or just a random colouring book, for example, or a toy or a CD, you won't need it, so you don't need to get it. My second tip is to make a list on things on what you plan to save up for. So for me, I'm saving up for a car, so I'm currently writing down, you know, what car I want, how much it's going to cost. Sorry, my bird's talking in the background. I can't control him. He can see all the birds outside and he just wants to talk to them. So yeah, just make a list on things that you want to save up for. Therefore you've got that motivation and you've got that will to want to do it, because I notice if I don't write down things that I want to save up my money for, I generally forget about it. Even if it's something as big as a car, I kind of just forget about it the next time I make a purchase. So yeah, that's my second biggest tip for you. My third tip is to plan your meals and spending budget. So I don't really feel the need to do this, just because generally I don't really spend that much money, so I don't really need a spending budget. But for those who do have a huge spending habit, or they spend a lot of money on fast food, you know, stuff like that, which is completely easy to do. Like, it's so easy to spend your money on fast food. Zambro, please respond. But planning your meals is a great way to know how much you're spending doing it yourself, if you know what I mean. So you kind of make that connection on what you're putting in your mouth anyway. While if you go to a fast food place, you know, you don't know what's in their wraps. Hey dear, I'm just filming a video. What does it look like? So if you make your own meals, you buy your own ingredients, you are at least conscious of what you're putting in your body. And if you know something's bad for you and you're wanting to be healthy, then you generally won't buy it. Whereas if you go to a fast food joint, you won't know what's really going in what. So yeah, and there's some ingredients that you just can't taste. So like tons of oil, you can probably taste tons of oil, but you know, if you make homemade meals, you're less likely to put in as much oils as they are, for example. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and yeah, let's move on to the next tip. The fourth tip is also tied in with what I just mentioned, and that is to make a shopping list, so you know what you need to get and how much it's gonna roughly cost you. Make a shopping list that is weekly based, so you don't have to go back every 2-3 days. I generally buy a lot of fresh vegetables, so I do have to go back for less than a week because I generally eat all of it. So yeah, definitely make a shopping list. Even out your shopping list with fresh and non-fresh foods, unless you're a raw vegan, then only get fresh foods. But you know, you understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, so making a shopping list is going to make you more conscious on what you're spending your money on and how much you're going to be spending, and you can then signal out foods that are just too expensive to buy. As I mentioned before, I don't buy my own food at the current moment. I probably will have to next year because I'll be an adult. I definitely don't want to spend like luxury items on my parents, you know, because they don't have millions of dollars to be spending on my food. But yeah, I generally already have that instinct to find the cheapest item or to find the reduced item, you know what I mean? And one of my biggest tips, right, always buy the reduced bread because that never goes off. Put it in the freezer and then toast it and you'll be fine. Like, always, never spend $3 on like the normal bread. Always spend what I spend anywhere, or worse, is $1.79 on the reduced one, and I save so much money. The fifth question is to resist takeaway. Obviously, you're going to crave takeaway if you know that it tastes good, the place tastes good, or you haven't eaten enough during the day, and 9 times out of 10 it's you haven't eaten enough. So definitely make sure you have a fulfilling, nutritious breakfast. This morning I have the same breakfast every single morning. I have oats cooked in water in the microwave with blueberries. It's a very affordable breakfast idea considering I get frozen blueberries and they last me quite a few breakfasts. It's extremely nutritious, so I don't have really any days now where I'm exhausted because I'm having such a nutritious breakfast that isn't expensive. And definitely make sure you're having lunch. Obviously, if you have a full-time job, it's probably very hard to not have takeaway, but if you can resist at least having one less takeaway food a week, still going to do you good, you're still going to save money from that. So yeah. Sixth question is to eat less processed foods. A lot of these processed foods are filled with junk ingredients that we can't read or random numbers. So definitely stay away from those random numbered foods. Obviously it's alright to have some kind of processed food whenever you want, but obviously it comes a point where it gets too expensive and it's just not good for us. So I'm not going to be talking about health in this video, I'm just going to be talking about price, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about anyway. But yeah, it can start to become very expensive getting pre-packaged foods that last quite a while, so I would definitely recommend going for those, you know, potatoes, sweet potatoes, vegetables, tomatoes, you know, all that good stuff, and eating as much fruit. Like yesterday I had blueberries for breakfast, 3 pears, a bowl of mangoes, I think 3 bowls of cherries, and that was my food for the day. I had more than that, but yeah, that's my fruit for the day, and yeah, I felt amazing and it's affordable. So yeah. And my final tip is something that a lot of teenagers do and what a lot of parents do, especially parents, because where I work, all they order is soft drink. I think you know where I'm getting at with this, is that to drink, is that you should be, if you want to save money, choosing water over soft drink, because soft drink is so expensive and it's just not good for you in the long run, and water is water. All it does is do good to you, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but water over soft drink is what I'm saying. So yeah, that pretty much concludes this video on how to save money as a student. This can be for even those who aren't in college or school or any of that. Like, you could implement any of these tips into your everyday life. It's really for everyone. Since I'm a student, I wanted to base it off of. Anyway, you understand where I'm coming from. I'm not going to ramble. Don't forget to follow my social media once again right there. And yeah, that concludes this video, and I'm going to go now. Bye.